When I was asked to do this, I was wondering why I was asked to do this, because I wasn't quite clear how I fit into this, which is kind of interesting considering most of my clinical experience and research is with people with disabilities, people with substance use disorders, people from low SES, and older adults. So, but yet, as I sat here and listened, I'm thinking, you know, I never thought of my career path as being working with individuals who are disadvantaged. I realized that they have disadvantages. But I guess through my career and through my life, I never chose to think about it in those terms. And that may have more to do with my training as a rehabilitation psychologist than anything else. So I'm kind of curious, and I know you have both, a lot of you have had or will have both myself and Dr. Dong for some classes, who are the two faculty here who focus primarily on disability. Do you consider yourselves, as you move forward to your career, as being individuals who are going to work with people with disabilities? How do you see that as happening? In what way do you see your future clientele as possibly having disabilities? Yeah, Stacy.
I think that disability is one of multiple oppressions that people are dealing with, and very often someone isn't just cognitively disabled or physically disabled because of the lack of access to resources and structural ableism. They're then also dealing with being lower SES because they don't have the same access to career or to education. And I think the same can be said for just about any other minority group of individuals who are gender non-conforming, like Dr. Swanberg talked about. There's a host of issues in terms of socioeconomic status, being homeless, being victimized. Children who are disabled are way more likely to be victimized, just like children who are gender non-conforming or children who are ethnic or racial minorities. So I see working with individuals with disability as part and parcel of a holistic practice that deals with depression and acknowledges the disadvantages that other people are working with on a day-to-day basis.
I think that's very well said. And I think the other point of it is, what is a disability? And if you think about what disability, it's defined differently, but how we like to define it is that a person who has a disability has some kind of medical impairment. And individuals with mental illness, with any type of mental disorder will fit into that category. And so even if you say, I'm just going to go out and work with individuals who have psychiatric issues, chances are you're really working within the disability field then. Because these are individuals who have a medical impairment, who likely have functional limitations imposed upon them because of that disorder, and who also, as Stacy said, are facing types of discrimination, oppression, and differences because of that disability. But it also includes emotional and cognitive impairments. And then I think about my role and my time in working with individuals with substance use disorders. And like Dr. Scanlon says, there's no such thing as just having a substance use disorder. I've never met a person who just had that and everything else was fine. So, so as I began to listen to the presentation today, I began to realize, well, now I know why I was asked to do this. I spent most of my career working with individuals with disabilities, substance use disorders, low economic status, and most of my practice has been doing home visit and outreach. And even as a beginning counselor, when I had my master's degree, with Community Mental Health Agency, we were a team of individuals who went out and we visited individuals in their homes, at senior centers, at different types of community centers. We went to them. Youth Service Bureau, another job I had many, many moons ago, went into the homes of the youth, went into institutions, wherever they were, I went to them. Never did they come to me. My office was basically my car, much to the disappointment of my husband, who seemed to think that our car should be used for other purposes. When I graduated with my PhD and knew I wanted to do practice, I never thought twice about how I was going to set that up. And while there was a financial side of it where I knew I had to bring in some money with some, insurance kind of clients, the large component was contract work, was seeking out, going to clients' homes, whether it be a person in an assisted living facility, whether it be a person in their home. I've been all over Tallahassee, places people probably haven't thought to go into to visit clients. And I always have found that very rewarding. The one thing I learned is that you have to know more than just how to do counseling. You have to know about the social service system in your area. You have to know about the state federal programs. You have to know about medical services. And you have to begin to network with individuals from all different fields: social work, physicians, nurses, school individuals, who runs the community the housing project that maybe your clients are in. Things like that nobody ever told me I needed to know these things when I was going for my master's and my doctorate. The other thing nobody ever told me when I started off is that I was going to be doing more case management than I ever anticipated as a counselor and a psychologist. So, you always hear people say, well, that in order to get a client motivated, they need to make the calls. They need to do this for themselves. If they care, they'd be in your office on time. Well, the bus isn't running, or the bus is late, or they don't have money for the bus. Those are the real reasons why some people can't participate and can't come to our offices. They don't know who to call. Have you ever tried calling some bureaucracy and trying to figure your way through some system? And so think about it if you're individuals who sometimes don't even have a phone, or the phone isn't accessible because they physically can't use it. So I found that I ended up doing a lot more case management than I ever thought I would. And I found it to be very rewarding. And I think some of the things that Dr. Scanlon talked about really rang true for me, and I kind of starred them as you were saying. One is the cultural differences. Even though I might have been a white woman and I might have had a white female client, we were from two different worlds. And I needed to acknowledge that, not only to myself, but to them. I not only think that we might not see the payoff to our work right away, but I always found it rewarding. I think it was some of the most rewarding things you could do is work with individuals who are considered non-traditional clients. Community-based services, when I was starting out, community-based services was kind of the new thing in some ways because people were moved from institutions and into community-based services. And what happened is those community-based services evolved into institutions. And so when we talk about community-based services, we really need to figure out what are we talking about. And I think that get a grip, get a life, and get a sense of humor is a great, great motto. If you don't take care of yourself, if you don't get a grip on yourself, what's going on in your life, how are you going to help other people? Plus, get a sense of humor. Those of you who work with me know the other part of my research is humor. And that evolved over the years because, you know, sometimes you just gotta laugh. And it really, and to laugh with your clients can somehow be a real catharsis sometimes. So I think those are all really valuable things to kind of take away from today. So I don't know what else you want us to talk about, but that's my